What's going on, guys? This is Gabe,
It's Caleb.
and you are watching the 9th episode of the Positive Outlook podcast.
Wow, almost episode 10.
I know. It's actually crazy to think about because, Monday when you guys are watching this video will be the eight weeks, so 2-month Peak of Positive Outlook podcast. So it's crazy to think we're coming up on 2 months. This was just an idea at one point. We kind of just said, screw it, hit the ground running, and we really just we put a lot of effort and time into this, and we hope that you guys enjoy it. But we were watching the first episode the other day. We were watching the first episode compared to our latest one that we dropped last Monday, and it is just crazy to see the growth and improvement. Not only of like the quality of the podcast, but just how we are as people. We're losing the camera.
Are we? Oh, it is sliding, isn't it? There goes the desk. You can no longer see the desk. Where is the desk?
We're floating. We are 10 feet in the air. The camera actually didn't rise up. We floated up. Or I guess we sunk down.
It's from priming.
Don't meditate too hard, guys. You'll go into a different plane of existence. All right, I'm going to try to change the camera 1 second. All right, so we're trying out a new little camera setup today. So, sorry if there's little cuts because we're trying to fix that. But the camera kind of runs loose. So if you guys do see a cut, it's just us fixing the camera.
Mm-hmm.
We got a book in front of it right now. Hopefully it doesn't fall. But
By Tony Robbins.
Oh yeah, it's a Tony Robbins book, Unlimited Power. So we got unlimited power for the rest of this podcast. You guys are in luck. What were we talking about?
Friend groups and relationships.
Oh yeah, it's the topic of the episode. But what were we talking about before the camera was falling?
We were talking about how we're almost to the 2-month milestone and how it's been a crazy journey.
Yeah. I'm glad you were paying attention. Episode 10 is
like
coming.
An elephant doesn't slip. Episode
10 is coming out I guess when you guys are watching this next Monday, episode 10 will be coming out. And we're going to be doing something fun for that. It's going to be more like our episode 8 where we kind of went out and did like a more vloggy style video. So be excited for that one. It'll be fun. Maybe we'll like challenge each other to do some stuff in public.
We've got some big plans coming.
Yeah, some scary stuff, but it'll be fun. So yeah, Caleb, what are we talking about today?
Friend groups and relationships.
Yes. And support systems along with that. It's kind of tied in with it, but it's good to just mention that there will be support groups in this. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with friend groups.
Okay. Yeah.
So what's the purpose of a friend group?
I feel like a purpose of a friend group is kind of to inspire and build each other up and kind of remind you that you're not alone in this journey. Friends are very important. Have you ever heard that quote? It's like it's not about how you spend your time, it's about who you spend it with.
Yep.
And I feel like that's really important because, just having a certain person in your life can change your entire outlook and your entire just experience of life.
Absolutely.
What do you think? Why are friend groups important?
I mean, I think those are the biggest reasons.
Okay.
But I also think it's important to either have a couple different friend groups or make sure your friend group is, everyone's heard the saying, you are who you hang out with.
Right.
And obviously that's not always the case. But essentially, you want to surround yourself with people that are either wanting the same thing as you or have like a shared common interest.
Yeah.
Or they have made it.
Yeah.
Have like a more of a mentor style.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to have different circles.
Yeah, you were mentioning earlier, different circles and that kind of thing. Do you want to go deeper in that and kind of explain that?
Absolutely. So it's really important to have, goal-oriented people.
Mm-hmm.
And you really want to meet with them often.
Yeah.
Because it can help you, remind you of your reasoning, your success, how to get there.
Right.
I think it's vital.
Yeah, I think it's very true because I know growing up I had plenty of different, groups. I would have the friends that I would go out with on a Saturday night. I would have the friends that I would meet with early mornings on the weekdays and just talk about our goals. I would have friends that like to play video games with me, and so it's like it's kind of good to keep those groups separate because it's a lot to mix those all into one. It's hard to juggle all of those activities and kind of focus on or have priorities.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Priorities can be really hard to set when it comes to those different groups of people, and it's so hard to focus only on goals because if you focus only on goals then you're not having fun. If you focus only on fun, you're not having goals. So it's nice to have those separate groups where you kind of don't have to limit yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of can move at the pace or faster than the pace of those people in the groups. and it doesn't make you, like set priorities aside.
And one major thing that I've found when finding a friend group, never rush it and
Mhm.
never be someone that you're not.
Yeah.
Don't fake your way into a friend group just 'cause you want friends. It's better to be alone than to have a toxic friend group.
Absolutely. That is very important. If you if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel like you can be yourself, if you feel like you have to put on an act to impress those around you, you're never actually going to impress them, because, the moment you want to be yourself, or the moment you want to experience true happiness, they're going to see your real side and be like, what is that?
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you kind of be like, insecure about, who you really are. And trying to mask that and trying to hide that, it can be really toxic.
It's really unhealthy.
Yeah, to yourself. And if you develop a habit out of it, you kind of lose yourself, and you lose who you want to be and who you actually are.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can be scary. So yeah, always find friends that, support you and are happy to have you around as you.
And when I moved schools from a small town called Grayling to a slightly bigger town called Gaylord. And I probably went a good almost a year before I had someone I could really call a friend,
Yeah.
because I was just waiting. I didn't want to, put myself into a group that I was like, this isn't it.
Yeah, right. I know I probably had, I would say, about 3 good friends in high school. There's always people you hang out with, but you would never take them on like a family trip with you kind of thing.
Right.
And I don't know, it's really important to find those people that you can connect with and have that spark with.
And it takes time. That is so important,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone wants to rush in because no one wants to be alone.
Right.
But when you can be happy alone, that's perfect. That's when you look for a friend group.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself. And sometimes while you're focusing on yourself, that's when you run into the best people.
Right. Like this guy.
I ran into this guy at the gym, totally just reconstruction mode.
Mm-hmm. I had no clue who I was.
Mm-hmm.
I was in like a, what's it called, an existential crisis,
Mhm.
when you just kind of don't know
Close.
who you are, or what your purpose is in this life, or what you're doing. And I remember there were weeks at a certain point in my life, there were weeks where I would just lay in my bed and just wonder, who am I? What makes me happy? What do I want to do with my life? What's my journey? And while I was on that journey of self-discovery, that's when I met you. And it was good because we shared interest, we shared growth, and that was one thing I was really focusing on at the time. And so it's like in those kind of situations, so like kind of going off into a little tangent here, like a catalyst. So, finding a friend group of people with similar interests, if you meet those people that are all about, say you're really into, I don't know, like science, right? You're a science nerd. You love learning about, I don't even know. I don't know much about science. I hate that I picked this topic, but that kind of thing where
just say chemistry or rockets or
something
generic.
Books. If you're like a bookworm, and you run into somebody that really loves books, but you kind of like being alone, but that can really open you up and make you more comfortable. Just a communication, that kind of thing.
And hearing different perspectives is huge.
Yeah, no, for sure, because you can get trapped in your own head.
And we all share experiences,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not the same person, so we view them differently.
Yeah.
And so it's good to either give them an experience or hear an experience and how
Right.
they took it versus how you might take it.
And like I was just saying, it's really easy to get trapped in your own head. And once you're trapped in there, it's hard to get out. So if you're alone in that, it's hard to bring yourself out of it. But when you have friends that are around you that, you can talk to about your issues or talk to about the stresses that you have in your life, and they can kind of give you a different perspective on it, you'll be like, oh, I didn't even think about it that way. And it kind of just, helps you get out of your head a little bit and helps you, gain that different perspective where you're able to tackle a situation differently.
Even if it's just, it doesn't necessarily have to be about that specific situation. If it could just be a distraction for a little bit, you want to make sure you're not running from the issue.
Right.
But if you have that little bit of a conversation where it just kind of takes you from reality for a little bit and you can just kind of goof around, it can really bring you back down.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where we were at. When him and I first met, we knew, life is a difficult journey. There's a lot of hard things that you have to go through. And we both knew the hard things that we had to go through. But when him and I would talk, we would talk about being at the top. like we made it kind of thing. And every night when we would have those conversations, by the end of the conversation, we're like, all right, we're ready to take on the world. And then we go home and go to bed. And so it's like, if we had those conversations in the morning, we would have tackled every day with like so much tenacity. And regardless of us going home and going to bed, the next morning we still wake up with that impact of the conversation, and we were able to tackle the day. But
looking forward to it at the end of the day.
And it was so weird because I woke up dreading every day. I was like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to see people. And then it was like 8:30 p.m. couldn't come quick enough because that's when him and I would go to the gym. And so all day was just dreading. And then we get to the gym, lift, and then just talk. And that was probably like a solid 3-month cycle. Because I think we started this podcast, we said 2 months ago. That would be April, middle of April.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that was probably a good 3 months of us just kind of doing it before we even took action on anything. But, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I never even thought about a podcast. If we never met, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
it
it's
would have
crazy.
died as a thought.
And so that's the thing. That's why, friend groups are so important. They help you. It's like a catalyst. They help you jump ahead on the things that you might not have even thought about.
Yep.
So, and then you said you want to talk about relationships as well. Where do you want to go with that?
I don't know. I've just always been very philosophical about relationships.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear your philosophy.
One of the biggest things that I'm now seeing, but I've always heard about, is the idea that once you stop searching, and I kind of said this for friend groups too, but it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
When you stop searching, you end up running into someone, and they end up being the one that you were looking for. And so, the point is to stop chasing what you want in that regard and just focus on yourself, because if you haven't met that person yet, you're not ready for them.
Right. It's just not meant to happen at that time.
I think it's an interesting philosophy.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's kind of like the law of attraction is like, well, and also it's just kind of common sense. Like how you treat others is how you view yourself. And if you don't love yourself, if you do get into a relationship, it's going to be toxic. It's going to be obsessive, and it's just not going to be a really, because caring about yourself is so important, that when you get into a relationship, it can feel, I guess, like enlightening to give somebody else care and to feel like you have a purpose. And so if that's the only thing in your life that makes you feel like you have a purpose, you're going to obsess over it. And so you're constantly going to be showing them love and affection. You're going to want to be with them 24/7. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to miss somebody in a relationship. Like, obviously, you can have a healthy relationship where it's like, oh, I miss you, I want to see you. But at the same time, it's like, you don't want to obsess over it. Like, understand that me time is important, and that you also, you have your hobbies, and it's, if you get into a relationship, make sure you stick to your hobbies, make sure you stick to the things you love doing, because that's what makes you you. And it's great when you guys can live separate lives outside, and then when you're together, share that happiness that you have outside.
And obsession is a weird thing, because when it's towards specifically success, it's a great thing to have.
Right.
Because you'll be driven. It's all you can think about. It's consuming. But when it's about another person, like you were saying, it can be bad.
Well, it can be out of your control. It can get to that point where it's like, you overthink it. Like, do they miss me as much as I miss them? Do they like me as much as I like them? It's like, are they thinking about me right now? I'm thinking about them.
Trapped in your mind again.
Yeah, and it really takes you in there, and it can eat you alive. It's a scary thing. And I'm not saying by any means that I'm perfect at relationships. I'm far from perfect when it comes to relationships. But I mean, this is just, what I've experienced is you have to learn to love yourself, and then when you get with somebody, expect them. You can't expect them to bring you happiness, because if you take their happiness, it's going to make both of you. I mean, it's going to make them unhappy, which in turn will make you unhappy down the road. You might be happy currently, but so what you got to do when you're alone, you're happy. When they're alone, they're happy. And then when you're together, you share that happiness.
Right.
You don't take from somebody. And now obviously there's days, you have a rough day. You had a long day at work, or you had a fight with family, something like that. You come home and you're really beat up, and your significant other's there, and obviously they bring you up. But if that's a daily thing, that's where the relationship gets toxic.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of personal experience, and the few that I do are not so good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Speaking of personal experience, so far in my life, I know what not to do. I'm still learning what to do, which is the most exciting part. I love learning and understanding how things. All right, guys, sorry about that. The video cut off. But we are back. And so what I was saying is, I know what not to do, and I'm just excited to learn how things work, and I think that's where I was. I think I was around that point, but yeah. So I'm not an expert, but I'm excited to learn. So what do you have to say? Anything more on relationships?
I'm kind of a bachelor living guy.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. But I mean, other than that, friends are super important to have by your side. They can help you with perspectives. They can help you get out of your own head. And they can just kind of help you get further along on your goals and your achievements that you're trying to accomplish.
And if they're dragging you down, make sure you cut them out.
That's very important.
It's not an easy thing to do, but it's a necessity.
Yeah. There are people who cut you down, but they're necessary to have in your life. So in that situation, you'll kind of just try to limit it. Try to limit how they affect you and limit your exposure to them. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great Monday. I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And look forward to episode 10 because it's going to be awesome.
We're also going to initiate the next giveaway in
Yes.
episode 10.
Yes, we have 3 more hoodies to give away, and then we can start giving out merch. We're sorry. We kind of jumped the gun with it.
We thought people would respond a little faster.
Yeah, but we're good, and merch will be dropping soon. So keep your ears open for that. So that'll be exciting. And other than that, thanks for watching. We appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a good day.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.